Okay, so welcome. So if you can turn your attention to your experience in this moment, and notice that your experience is made out of perception, thoughts, sensations, which appear to you effortlessly, and that there is another aspect to your experience which is not visible to the senses, which is the perceiving aspect, the knowing aspect, the awareness aspect of your experience. The screen, the space within which this hearing is taking place right now. And you can ask yourself, am I the perceiving aspect? Or am I something which is perceived? Am I a perception? Am I a thought? Am I a memory? Am I a sensation? Or am I the reality which perceives? Am I a visible object, a visible form? Or am I awareness? Because your experience is composed of both that which you perceive as well as the perceiving aspect, awareness. You can rest as the question. Allowing the question to take you to the answer. because the answer is at the source of the question, which is our interest in understanding our experience, and having clarity about what I refers to. There is the mind and the activity of mind, meaning thoughts and sensations and perceptions. And the mind is available to us, meaning thoughts, sensations, and perceptions are available to us for practical, functional purpose, but also as tools which can be directed towards understanding, not just understanding about how to navigate this world and body-mind, but understanding about truth. So the mind can be turned outwards towards the world, body, in order to help us navigate the world of manifestation. But it can also be turned inward to investigate the reality of our experience. Whenever you ask yourself, what is the reality of my experience? Sometimes a question which is asked is, what am I truly? What is I? What is the real I? Whenever you inquire into reality via the mind, you are inquiring into the changeless, into that which you are absolute about, you are certain about, that which is always available to you, that which you will always find right there whenever you look and wherever you look. which is I. The changeless beingness, knowingness, that which perceives, that which is, that which does not come in and out of existence, that which you know yourself to be before any thought arises. That which precedes manifestation, precedes all appearances, and permeates manifestation, permeates appearance. That without which nothing can be. That which is the isness of whatever exists. As the mind is turned in that direction, investigating and exploring, questioning the belief that reality is physical, questioning the belief that reality is personal and finite, questioning the belief that reality exists in time and space, is sincere question, not seeking to swap an old belief with a new belief, but looking for certainty. looking for the understanding that is beyond any doubt. What is it that you can be absolutely certain of in this moment? There is something rather than nothing. There is a reality, whatever that is. And this something rather than nothing takes on infinite forms and shapes. And yet it has no inherent form and no inherent shape. I can be absolutely certain of being, not being somebody, not being something which appears, but beingness itself. I can be absolutely certain of awareness. There is awareness. The wondrous, magical aspect of awareness. Mind-blowing awareness. There are colors and shapes and forms and sounds and sensations of different forms. But there is no separation between awareness, the knowing element, the knowing aspect of our experience right now, and perception. There's no separation between awareness and perception. When we use the mind to investigate separation, we find a belief, we find a concept of this and that. These concepts may be useful. This table and that bed, this cat and that dog. Useful concepts. Experientially, experience precedes the concept, meaning awareness, presence precedes the concept, which arises in awareness, out of awareness, the concept of inside and outside, the concept of here and there, experientially. There is no here and there. There is no inside and outside. It's just presence, awareness, beingness, not knowingness. So not to mistake the conceptual realm with the reality of our experience. Not to confuse the mind with consciousness. To use the mind when appropriate and as appropriate, knowing that it's a tool in your hands, in the hands of consciousness. So I invite you to turn your mind inwardly and inquire, investigate the belief that you are a person, that you are born, that you have a beginning and an ending. Conduct your own investigation, your own inquiry. Look into it. Investigate the evidence that you have that I is born, that I exist in time, and that reality exists in a bigger reality called time. Take a look at your experience. And check it out, that there is no separation experientially. That separation is a conceptual model, useful in some cases. This is my house, that is your house. If you want to go downtown, go to the right, don't go to the left. Concepts can be very useful, practical, in a practical way. But when it comes to clarity about peace and happiness, you have to go to the source and come to the understanding that it is the source itself which is seemingly veiling itself and unveiling itself. And you, not you, the body-mind, not you, the bundle of thoughts and memories, but you, the reality of being, awareness, is this source, playing the game of ignorance, and return to the home which you are. So if you have any questions, please make sure to unmute yourself. And there's also in the reaction section in the bottom of the screen. You can also raise your hand if you like. So any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Shalom.
Yeah. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah, I have a question. When I say I realize my true nature, who is this I that is realizing the true nature?
Well, there is only one I. And there is no person who realizes their true nature. The realization of true nature is an understanding. It's an understanding about reality, about truth, about consciousness. And in this understanding, it is revealed that there is no one who realizes their true nature, that in fact, our true nature or reality has always been there. It is always there. It is what it is. It's never been anything else. It has not, in fact, reduced itself to being a person, a man or a woman. It has not, in fact, separated itself in multiple forms and names. The understanding is that the dynamic aspect of consciousness is what we refer to as phenomena, is what we refer to as the world body mind. It is simply the dynamic aspect, the movement aspect, one could say, of consciousness. And that there is only one reality. In this reality, is not a blank state. It is an aware, it is awareness itself. And this awareness is unopposed, right? No separate or other reality outside of consciousness. And so at the mind level, the realization of our true nature is experienced at the mind level as peace and freedom and happiness. It's the understanding that it's always been the case. Our self has always been this childlike, innocent, free and happy and giggling self. And that the entire impression or dream of separation was God's play, the play of the universe. Because God is complete freedom. Creative. And creates infinite creations. Because creativity is joyful. It's one of the attributes of consciousness. To create and to marvel at its creation. Now, coming back to your question about who is it that realizes our true nature? Who is it that awakens? In this question, Shalom, there is the assumption that there is somebody, and that there is an objective, which is awakening. In the question, there is the assumption that there is somebody who is real, who is not awakened, and that via certain activities or via grace, this person will become awakened. So there is an assumption that there is somebody who awakens. The question is asking, who is this somebody who awakens? What is this something or this somebody that awakens? You have to see that this assumption has in it a belief, or many beliefs. The belief that there is somebody, a separate self. Maybe it's me, maybe it's my soul, maybe it's my spirit, I don't know. It's something separate self, or a separate entity that is not awakened and that will awaken. And we don't even know what awakening is, but in this question, there are these beliefs. But in our experience, in your experience, you never experience yourself as a separate entity. You experience a belief and maybe a feeling that says you are a separate entity who is not awakened, but you will awaken sometime, at some time, hopefully soon. If you've been working so hard, you should be awakening soon. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. So in your experience, you perceive this belief, you perceive these feelings, but you overlook that it's something that you are perceiving. You overlook that you are the perceiving aspect, the perceiving element. You are the awareness of the thought and of the sensation. You overlook that awareness is there, and that awareness is not lacking something, is not awareness itself. Cannot be improved. There's no improvement to awareness, because awareness is not an object, it's not a form. It's not something that you can become, that becomes better, that becomes awakened somehow. You overlook that awareness already is the freedom that you are, the freedom, the noumenal reality, your reality, and the reality of your experience. And it's not something that gets diminished or augmented. It doesn't get augmented if you make 100 prostration. It doesn't get diminished if you do 50 prostration instead of 100. So, although there is no separate self that gets awakened or realizes their true nature, there is an understanding that is important. The understanding about consciousness, about I. So whenever you refer to yourself, whenever you refer to I as shallow, the body mind, you are confusing consciousness with the body mind. There is a body mind which is appearing to you, appears to you. It appears to you in many ways, images, sensation, perception. There is a body mind that appears to you, but you are not the body mind which appears to you. You are not the visible. You are not the perceived. You are the perceiver, the perceiver. You are the invisible, not the visible element.
Hmm.
You follow?
Can I ask a question? Hi, Maggie. This is
Thank you.
Ana.
One moment, if you don't mind. I just want to make sure that it's shallow. One moment, please. You followed shallow?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sure. Sorry, Anna, you wanted to?
Yes, thank you, Maggie.
Yes.
I was following all that you were saying and very grateful for it.
Yes.
I could be the most primitive person there in your, but that's a judgment in itself, so it doesn't matter. But it's very hard for me when I encounter in the outer world, like in the movie picture, I encounter people that I don't like, that I judge as I don't like, that bothers me. And I know that if I am with that person, if I am witnessing that, it's part of whatever is there, even though it's not me. How can I just be with whatever I am witnessing without being kidnapped with the emotional body and be sucked into the nonsense of being somebody and the other person being somebody? Or thank you.
You don't have to like everybody and everything. Some things we don't like. In people, we don't like ignorance. We don't like being in relationship with greed or envy or jealousy or we don't enjoy ignorance. But it is not the people, it's not the person which is a problem, it's ignorance. It's a certain behavior. We have a tendency to make a person. I'm a person and you're another person. I am less ignorant, you're more ignorant. I don't like you. No. It is the ignorance which we don't like. It is the sense of separation we don't like. So we don't need to frequent neighbors or friends who we don't like their company. You don't have to. But you don't need to make a story in your mind about people and be rigid in your opinions and your judgments about people, about others. You don't know, you don't have access to the first-hand experience of the other. You only have access to your first-hand experience. You don't have access to the first-hand experience of your sister, of your mother, of your brother, of the other, of your neighbor. So compassion is an important aspect of love. That although we do not like certain behaviors, we don't judge them. We have compassion for them. We understand that we do not know. We actually do not know what is their inner experience, their inner situation. But this does not mean that we need to stay in this relationship, or we need to maintain this relationship, or we need to bear with it, you know, be like spiritual and be stoic and be non-dual. We are all one, and therefore I should be able to enjoy the company of somebody who's greedy or selfish. No. As much as possible, we navigate this situation. Every situation is different. Sometimes you can explore in the relationship some of the behavior that you don't enjoy. You just explore that together with the other. And sometimes there is no room for that. And if you can navigate somewhere else, you do. If you can't, then you're stuck with it for a little while, and hopefully, yeah. So hopefully we can zone it out if you have no choice. I don't know. Sometimes in the family we have situations like that, and we have to bear a little bit, as long as it doesn't last for too long. And okay, by tomorrow I'll go back to my house. But it's important not to be judgmental about others, not to be so sure about your beliefs about others. Of course, all you know is that you don't enjoy this behavior. That you know, because it's your experience. I don't enjoy this behavior. That you know, and you can act from that. You can, without creating a good person and a bad person, without that process.
But it's all me. I believe it's all me. The other person, what I'm seeing, it's me. The compassion I have to have is with me, because and that is what bothers me, because if I am seeing it's because I have it, then it's me. No?
I don't. Yeah, no, this idea that when I feel upset because somebody is angry, it's because there is some anger in me, or it's no, I don't. That's not my experience. You can feel outrage when you see somebody mistreating a dog, for example, or mistreating somebody else. You don't like that because it's not in alignment, it's not in harmony with our true nature. It's not in harmony with compassion, with love, with friendship, with, you see, that I wouldn't agree with what I don't like out there, what I'm seeing that I don't like is something I don't like about myself. No, because in fact, there is no self. This is a story, you know. There's an imaginary self, a belief in myself that's good, that's bad, that has bad things and good things, and that is, but there's no such a thing. There is just awareness, just consciousness. And that's the reality. The reality of you is the reality of consciousness, of awareness, you see. And awareness is love and compassion. So when awareness perceives somebody mistreating somebody else, immediately we don't like it because it's not in harmony with consciousness. Consciousness is love, beauty, friendship, listening, caring, understanding the totality. We're all sort of, you know, the same whole, you know, the same totality, the same. So I wouldn't buy into this notion that there is something about me, because there's no me. Yes. You don't need to go into this new story and no, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Well, hello, Richard. Let's see.
Yeah. Hi, Magdi.
Oh, okay, Richard. Yes.
How are you?
One moment. Good to see. Let me see. Okay. Yes. Yes.
I actually, your conversation with Anna Maria sort of resonated with some questions and some experiences that I've been pondering. I know I reached out to you for the weekend. I'm sorry we couldn't connect, but I'll ask a little bit about what I was thinking now, because I've certainly I've had experiences where I'm judging other people and trying to, you know, I get into that. But what really seems to be coming up for me recently, and not just recently, but it's something that has been around for a long time with my mindset and my feelings, and never seems to really diminish, is that there is apparent, and I think when I say apparent, I mean this phenomenal, I'm not trying to discount it as its reality, but there's phenomenal appearance of suffering all over the world, right? There's people are suffering, animals are suffering, right? And we see, you know, I see that, you know, it presents itself to me, and it's hard for me. It arises differently than my own experience of my own suffering, because I can think about my condition, I can think about my life, and I can recognize and contextualize things, and I can sort of come to an equanimity about my own apparent personal suffering. But it seems different when it's a dog or a child or any person, any living thing that seems to not be my own experience. But when I see apparent others in pain, it really, it just seems to really provoke a feeling of separation, that a certain helplessness, there's something that I can do, and a certain discomfort about the way things are. So I don't know if I'm really explaining this well. Maybe if you could talk to it, or if I need to rephrase the question, I can certainly try.
It also evokes in you compassion. It evokes in you compassion and love. Love and compassion, you know, they come together. So it's not It's just that evokes in you suffering. It actually evokes in you love and compassion, and it's like in a way you're reaching out. It's somehow, of course, sometimes you cannot do much, but there is the heart, you're reaching out with the heart. Now, in terms of suffering, we all have an experience of what we call suffering. When we take a look at our life and some aspects of our life that we refer to as suffering, at some point, we may understand or realize that somehow, although these experiences may have been difficult, that somehow they had their place, they served their purpose of bringing some understanding, maybe not immediately, maybe down the line, some understanding, some love, some compassion, some forgiveness, and also brought us to a deeper exploration, and maybe affected how we live. Maybe we saw some behaviors that were so abhorrent and so painful to experience them that we don't want to spare others from having those experiences. And that's very beautiful to have that understanding that you don't want to act in that way towards anybody. Maybe somebody acted towards you, or you were in a certain situation that appeared to be very painful and difficult. So they're learning from that. Now, you don't want to, of course, go through that experience yourself, but you also don't want others to go through that experience. So it's not that bad, suffering. Suffering is the bitter pill that you have to it's difficult to swallow, but it helps you in curing your ailment.
May I ask something? Just because I don't want to forget sort of, because what you say, I think I do 100% agree that, the thing, like suffering in my life, I do agree, and I think it has a certain beneficial quality, because that's you learn, you grow, as you say, you see things that you yourself do or that others do, and you say, I don't want to do these things, and I don't want to be that, and you learn it from it, and that's sort of what I meant when I said with my suffering, I think I understand the beneficial in this. I mean, it's necessary, and the beneficial qualities, but what my hang up is, what hangs me up is like to use your example of a dog, like you said, someone mistreating a dog. I have a soft spot for animals, so that that's sort of my go-to example. Maybe I see someone kicking a dog in the street, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to live that way. Or maybe I kick a dog in anger when I was younger, and I say, I don't want to do that again, and I learn from it. But it seems to me that there's a suffering dog that gets no benefit from its own experience. And I know that experiences.
How do you know? You don't know. I mean, all you know is that your experience of suffering there's another aspect to it, which is, the learning, the growing, the deepening. You don't know. So you can only go with a certainty of what you know. In terms of what you just shared about the uselessness of the dog suffering, the best you can do is say, I don't know. When you don't know, then you can't be on that position or on this side of or that side of the situation. You don't know. But you know your experience, for example, of seeing somebody being unfriendly to a dog. And your experience, that you know, is an experience of compassion and wanting to share with this person, look, you know, can you have some compassion? Because you're experiencing compassion. You want maybe this person will say, oh, I'm so sorry, thank you for waking me up, or maybe they'll tell you mind your own business. We don't know. Maybe you won't be able to say anything or do anything. Maybe you're driving in a car in the middle of traffic and you see something on the side of the road you cannot stop. So all you know is your experience. Yes, your experience is the experience of compassion. To say, oh, this is useful, this is useless, etc. From the second person perspective, you don't know. You know your first person perspective, your first person experience about suffering. My first person experience about suffering, I wouldn't remove any drop of suffering from my life. I wouldn't, because I understand that everything was perfect as it unfolded, and it has a purpose. It has a reason. And in my understanding, the purpose of everything that unfolds is to come to the understanding about reality, about truth. The understanding about being, about reality. Because what other understanding is there if it isn't understanding about reality? What it could be? An understanding about relative truth, an understanding about partial reality, an understanding about things that appear and disappear. The most important understanding is the understanding about reality, because the reality is absolute, and an understanding about reality is a real understanding. And
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's hard for me to. I mean, yes, you're right. Like I don't know. Like the only knowledge I have is, my own experience, and I certainly don't know if there's any value. It seems as if there's not, but you're right. That's not. Maybe I need to examine that.
I don't know.
That seeming, yeah. I wanted to ask another question, but it's not related, so I'll see if other people have questions before I do. Anna Marie, your dog looks like it's a very happy dog, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to take not so much responsibility. Thank you, Maji, but I'm trying to be as compassionate as I can. Your cat looks happy too.
Compassion and judgment, they don't go hand in hand. Compassion and love, yes. And compassion and not knowing, yes. But compassion is certainty, I'm not so sure.
That's very helpful, actually, Magdi. Thank you.
Magdi.
Shiva, salut Shiva. Hello Shiva.
Salut. Can I say something right here? Hang on, I'm like in the middle of something else.
No, let's go ahead.
Vidéo, non, c'est bon. Ça va. Ah, non, j'ai voulu te voir. Bonjour. Hi. It's kind of interesting because you said compassion and judgment don't go hand in hand. But then how is it perceived that a situation is, let's say,
I'm hearing you.
and requires compassion.
I'm hearing.
Oh shoot! That? Really?
Yes.
I'm in the yurt. Let me go outside. Let's see if I can have a better reception there.
Okay.
Is it better?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I have to hold the thing up, but that's okay. So I was just what you said to Richard about compassion and judgment don't go hand in hand.
Yes.
And it's obviously true. Then one could argue saying that if there's nobody, oops, I lost my thing. If there's nobody who is perceiving, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Cannot start your video because the host has disabled it. Okay, my host has disabled my video, it says.
Yes, Shiva, because we want to save bandwidth, your voice is right now more important than your picture.
Nice to let me know. Thank you so much, because I'm trying 15 times to get the video to work. Okay, cool. Thanks. That's good. No, I just wanted to say, Magdi, in the sentence, judgment and compassion don't go together, or are like not this cannot work together, or something like that. I don't know how you phrased it. If you don't have anybody to perceive that the dog is kicked or tortured, then how can it work? You know what I mean? In the sense of like, there's obviously some form of judgment, somebody who says, oh my God, that's awful. And then I'm like compassionate about it. Do you hear me, Magdi?
Yeah, yes, I hear you. I'm trying to understand the question.
The question is, I think, I mean, all the conversations so far have been sort of like, and I guess we all always do that, in that we are in this realm of duality and trying to make sense of it and trying to transcend it, and then just realizing there's nobody to transcend anything. So it's kind of like maybe a futile remark that I'm making, that sometimes when things are said in a way so, you know, categorically, let's say, like compassion and judgment don't go together, then I'm sort of like, it's true and it's not true, because if there's nobody to judge the situation, then how can there be any compassion? I mean, if I'm completely indifferent to dogs, and I'm completely indifferent to suffering,
no.
Then,
yes, you know, compassion can go hand in hand with action. But action doesn't require judgment; it requires intelligence. So there is a perceiving an act of brutality, and there may be the possibility of acting, and so there can be an action which does not necessitate judgment. There is a discernment. There is an intelligence. Consciousness knows itself and is all-knowing, and it's intelligent. It's intelligent about its creation, and it's discerning. So you seem to be implying that a judgment is required for action. No, that's not necessary. Action can arise out of love and out of understanding. Love and understanding and compassion do not mean inaction or passivity. or tolerate or tolerance of irresponsible behavior.
Okay, so you're basically saying that there is a difference between discerning and judging.
Yes, discerning can be.
No, I mean, this is an important piece. I think it's important to really say that, because for discerning requires, because this leads me exactly to the question I originally actually had for you, which is about beauty, and so the discerning quality provokes the action of compassion. Like, I'm discerning this. So the difference between discerning and judging is exactly what?
Well, in discerning, you are perceiving a certain situation. In judging, you're projecting a person. You're not just perceiving a situation. You are personifying the situation.
Okay, so that's like a perception and perception. You make a difference between discerning and judging.
Yes.
Saying.
Yes. In judging, there is a person. You have
somebody who discerns. Somebody is not in a state of ego. Okay, cool. Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
Separation in judgment, the sense of separation and personhood, personification in judgment. But that is not the case in discernment. You can discern a disharmonious, a certain behavior or a certain situation that is not in harmony with reality, with truth, with love. And action can arise from the discernment, if possible. I mean, sometimes it's not possible. It depends on the situation.
Right. Great. Well, that's great. That's basically already answering my question, because the question I had was in continuation of what we spoke about earlier, is this like, thing with beauty in my life, like this lifelong, I don't want to say quest, but this attraction to this manifesting of them. And I was sort of like having this question for you was about, okay, so who is the one who says this is beautiful and this is ugly?
Well, I'm giving you a sort of copy, but in terms
I'm so sorry.
In terms of beauty, beauty, love, intelligence, they're not relative, they're absolute. We recognize beauty in our stillness, from our beauty, from our inner beauty. We recognize beauty in the world. So it is the beauty is an aspect of reality. So when we're perceiving beauty, there is a recognition. We are recognizing beauty. We're not recognizing a beautiful object or something like that. We're recognizing beauty. Because two people could be looking at the same object, and one person experiences beauty and recognizes beauty, and the other doesn't. So the beauty is not in the object. The beauty is not, it's in the beauty itself. So to be guided by beauty and to live by beauty and to be in love with beauty is a very beautiful thing. It's a very good direction in your life. To be guided by beauty, or to be guided by love, or to be guided by intelligence. It's a very good direction, because you are being guided by the self. You're being guided by consciousness.
Yeah, but You know, I do a little bit the avocat du diable here, so to just have a full lightening up of this entire subject. So you were saying there's two people who are, I mean, two apparent people, obviously, two aspects of consciousness sitting in front of another, of one object, which is also an appearance in consciousness, and one says, "Oh, this is gorgeous," and the other one says, "Oh my God, this is the most horrible kitsch I've ever seen in my life." Right?
Yes.
So you have a situation where there is perception of beauty for one, appearance of consciousness, and the other being is saying, "No, it's ugly, it's terrible, I hate it." How does that go?
What is the question?
Well, the question is, you were implying that beauty is an absolute term. And I mean, I totally agree. And as I said, I'm doing the devil's advocate a little.
Yeah, but this does not mean that we recognize it.
To have a full.
Yes, beauty. I'm having a hard time with the audio here. But yes, beauty is it's absolute. It belongs to consciousness. This does not mean that at the mind level we recognize the beauty. This does not mean that at the mind level we recognize the beauty. It depends. It depends on how available we are to the beauty. There are many different levels of availability.
Right. I mean, there are very many different levels of availability for beauty. And then the other subject is
I'm not
everything beautiful. Can't hear me. Conversations.
No,
I'm having it. You know, take somebody. You know, Matti, take somebody else's question, and I'm gonna drive to the house where the reception is better. Okay, I get right back to you.
I'm hearing you in and out.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. This is a little difficult. We keep interrupting each other. Okay. Okay. So. Any questions? So, Janet, I see a comment that you wrote, consciousness has compassion with ignorance, right? That was your question. Does consciousness have compassion with ignorance?
Well, I'm thinking that, you know, what Shiva was talking about there, like somebody was judging one thing as beautiful, and then someone else, consciousness, is judging it as ugly. How can that be? Because consciousness can't judge, period. And then ugliness is not a part of the beauty that consciousness is, right? So there would be compassion with the ignorance, right?
In terms of beauty, it's not possible to have beauty and judgment in the sense on the same. So beauty requires an availability to the expression that comes from God, that comes through, it can come through a particular body mind, through a musical body mind or an artistic, different artistic body minds. But the expression comes from the divine. The judgment is an activity of the mind.
Yes.
And the activity of the mind that is infected with the belief that there is somebody, a separate self that needs to protect themselves, they need to affirm themselves, etc. When the mind is in a judgmental state, it is in ignorance.
Right.
And at that moment, it is not available for beauty. So in terms of ignorance. Ignorance, which means a belief that I, this awareness, is a limited personal awareness. This I is this awareness located in the brain, or located in the mind, or is a product of the brain activity, or is the body, it is the body, it's located somewhere. The ignorance is very specific about consciousness, believing consciousness to be personal and limited. It's important to understand that there is only one reality. And this reality is not named Janet and Magdi and Holger, etc. No. Reality has no name. It's not made up, it's not a female reality or a male reality or whatever. No. Reality is non-phenomenal. There's only one reality. So there is no other reality outside of this one reality. So all of experience, meaning thoughts, perceptions, sensations, the universes, infinite creations, infinite universes, they are this one reality. They're the creation of this one reality. And they're not created by this one reality to have separate realities. No, it's like your own dreams, your own thoughts. They appear within you, they are you, they're not separate from you. So ignorance, meaning this reality, playing the game and veiling itself to be a limited reality. It's just a movement or an activity of consciousness, and it's an activity of that reality. It's like children playing robbers and cops. There are no robbers and cops. It's the children playing, I'm the robber, you're the cop. And then later, I'm the cop, you're the robber. Ignorance is like the playing the robber and the cop. It's a game of consciousness. There is no reality to the robber or to the cop. It's a game that children are playing. It's important to understand that about ignorance, not to make ignorance to be some reality, something really a problem that has to be resolved or ignorance is simply the belief that this aware presence right now, which hears these words, is Janet, excuse me, is a person. It's just this belief. Because your experience of awareness right now, if I ask you what is the name of awareness right now, you have an experience of awareness right now, don't you?
Yes. Oh, yes.
You are aware right now. Yes.
Oh, yes, I am. Yes.
If I ask you, what is the name of this awareness? What would you say?
It's referred to as consciousness.
What is the name of this consciousness? What would you say?
It's referred to as I am. There's no name really,
no
right?
Name. It has no name. Yes. Yes.
There's concepts.
Ask you what is the age of consciousness? It has no age.
Right. Yes.
Say yes, the body. There is a body named Magdi, it has an age so and so. The body named Joe, the body named Janet, etc. But if you ask yourself, this experience of awareness right now, I have it, it's the fact. What is the age, the name, the size of this awareness? There is no, these questions don't apply. If you ask us the question, where is this awareness located? There's no location. There is a location of this computer on the table. There is a location of this body on the chair. But no location for awareness. Right?
Right. Yes.
And when you ask yourself, what is it that's absolutely really my experience? You can only go to right now. What is absolutely really my experience right now? Is it your thoughts? Is it the sensation of your feet on the ground? Is that the reality of this moment? If you go to your thoughts, they've changed. The thought you had a second ago is gone. The sensation of your feet, they change. You move your foot, or you don't even move it, but the sensation changes. What is it that is changeless, that doesn't change in your experience right now?
Just the knowing.
It's this knowingness, this awareness.
Yes. Yes.
It's so real. I know I am, I know I perceive. What I perceive may be a dream, maybe an illusion, maybe a hallucination, who cares? But there is a reality to perception. You see? So we stay with reality. And it's always there. It's available to us. So that we don't continue to trick, oh, my life, may this happen to me, that's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to me tomorrow? All these worries and concerns, the sense of lack, the fear of death. So that this stream of unhappiness is relieved with the understanding about our true being, about what our reality.
Yes, yes, that has been my experience. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Maggie. I see Shiva's got his hands up again, so I'll give him time. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. So Shiva, are you back?
Can you hear me better
Yes.
now?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Let's try the video. If I can see you, it would be nice. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Hey. Is this audio better?
Or a lot better. I was having a hard time before. I kept interrupting you. You kept interrupting.
We have a lot of tropical winds out there. I'm in the middle of nowhere, so it's this is the router is sort of next to me, so that's good to know. Okay, great. Sorry for it. Now, can we go back to that? You, in the conversation with the lady who just spoke, you said at some point, like you said before, compassion and judgment don't go together, and beauty and judgment don't go together. And I guess that we are going back to this word like discernment then. Because as an artist, I don't know how you can create beauty or how beauty is created if there is not the discernment between that which is beautiful and that which is not.
Oh,
which I in the old days would have called a judgment. I'm saying, oh, this is terribly ugly. I don't want it. I use this color and it will be beautiful.
So in terms of beauty doesn't belong to the person, doesn't belong to the mind. It is expressed. It can be expressed through a particular body mind, but it doesn't arise from the body mind. It is not sourced in the body mind. It is channeled, let's say, through the conduit of certain body minds. So there is certain availability, and of course, certain skills, are required in the particular body mind. But there has to be a certain availability for the divine, for the expression, for the divine to come and to express itself through your availability, and of course the skills, to represent and express that divine expression with without the interference of personal doership, but there is the doership of the body mind. There is the functioning of the body mind, and as you said, the discernment, which is a quality, an aspect of intelligence. So we discern. The body mind is wired to discern the bitter from the sweet, the thorny path from the unthorny. You don't need to explain that. It's very quickly you realize that, oh, this is not the right direction, this is the right direction. I am not an artist. I'm not having had the gift of art, although I love, the appreciation of art.
Words are your art.
Yes, it's God's words, as you know.
Exactly.
So it's very nice you said that, because the same thing with you're creative. You're an artist. You create structures, forms. It's the same thing. This is channeled through you. There is something within of course, an artist that comes to the artist is a sort of, I don't know the word is
divine inspiration.
Yeah, some inspiration. Yes, an inspiration. It's your divine inspiration. And then there is the exploration of how to manifest it. The manifestation of it. And at some point, the artist finds, okay, it's like this, like that, and at some point they're like, they're done. They're done. In a way, like you don't even know what you did, but
exactly.
It's done, and you're in admiration of God's creation that's been created through you.
Right.
So, and the appreciation of beauty is also requires that same availability. If you somehow are open to the message, you're open to the beauty that's coming from the art. And so some see it in nature, which is God's creation. Some see it in paintings or music, or that in so many ways. But it requires that availability, that moment where somehow you're aligned with the beauty that is shining to you and through you, through everything. It's just pure beauty.
It's so beautiful what you said. Thank you so much, Magdi. But the topic of the philosophical quote unquote debate that we could possibly have here, which is happening somehow, was this whole thing about compassion and judgment, beauty and judgment. They don't go together. And the whole topic of beauty is absolute. And so it's true and it's not true, because we can also say that beauty is dependent on the vessel who is perceiving it. Because if I am, let's say, I've had this so many times, like I'm into opera, I love classical music, and a lot of people don't. They have no education, and they listen to an amazing bel canto, and they have zero, and they're like, can we turn off? Can we do something else?
But how does how does the appreciation of beauty or not the appreciation or lack of appreciation of beauty affect beauty itself?
Exactly. But so it
has no effect on beauty.
It's absolute in one sense and it's relative in another.
The appreciation is on the relative realm. But beauty is not on the relative realm.
Right. It's like consciousness. I can totally live as a complete ego and I'm in my suffering and I have no idea that consciousness exists.
Yes. Absolutely.
Same thing.
And the point I was saying before was that if you are judging, it's a different thing from appreciating. You may not appreciate something, but judgment is a person, you've introduced ignorance in judgment. In all judgments, there is a person. We start with the person being mean, and sometimes we're creating a person out there. But in the case, of course, in case of art, we're judging maybe the artist or some idea, some image. Say, oh, this artist, blah 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 blah. And what I'm saying is that judgment. I'm not saying that in the absence of judgment, all art is beautiful. No. What I'm saying is that judgment is ignorance and it does not go hand in hand with beauty or with love or with compassion. Now, there can be you may not appreciate, you may not see beauty within a certain work of art without any judgment. It's just you see that and somehow you do not recognize God's touch or God's hand for whatever reason. Not it's just there isn't that recognition at that moment without the necessity of judgment. In fact, as soon as you go into judgment, then irrespective of whether God's expression is true in that piece of art or not, there cannot be the recognition of beauty.
Yes, you know what was the real kick for me in this whole debate and this whole question is the difference between discernment and judgment.
Yes.
Because as an artist, I cannot live without discernment. Otherwise, the beauty is not going to reveal itself because there is basically all which is happening is the taking away of that which is not expressing the beauty fully. So the discernment has to be there to say, oh, this needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to be added, et cetera, et cetera. This needs to be combined differently. And that's the constant co-creation to reveal the beauty. And for me, it was this, in my little ego mind head, it was this sort of like, okay, am I still completely judgmental? Because no, it's like a discernment, which is necessary in order to reveal the beauty, in order to reveal consciousness. Because I mean, the conversation we have about beauty, we can have about compassion, about love, about consciousness, it's all the same, basically different words, right? So, discernment, vairagya, right? That was the Sanskrit word. No, vairagya is dispassion. What was
viveka?
Viveka. Va bene. Okay, cool. Viveka.
Viveka, of course, yes.
Is the discernment.
Yes. Viveka is the discernment, yes.
Thank you so much, Magdi.
Okay,
merci, merci. Tata. Okay.
Okay, well, I think we're beyond our time here. Thank you all. Lovely to be with you all. Nice to see you. Sam, hello, Sam. And Olga, Janet, Sam, Sila, Trish, and Trish. Loroya, Anna Maria, and Cecilia, Cecilia, Gita, Holly, and Holly, Frank, Richard, John, Jimmy Coggins. Hi, Jimmy. Berlin, and my sweet Clara. Thank you all.